You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to our news. The headlines. MUTALE NALUMANGO appointed as UPND VEEP. ECZ receives final report and amendment bills on voting rights for persons in lawful custody. ACC warns and cautions former health PS. In international news, Guineans skeptical as government steps up fight against Ebola. And in sports news, FAS disburses final batch of FIFA COVID-19 relief funds. For the details, join me shortly after this break.
2021 is finally here. Zambia is at the crossroads heading towards general elections this August. In the world where fake news, biased reporting on national issues has become the order of the day, in a world where social media in most cases spills lies and exaggerated information, insightful coverage, Zambia needs one media. Living in a country where people are slowly promoting tribalism, hatred, bitterness and revenge, political temperature is heating up and people's hearts are perplexed. Zambia needs one media. Zambia being a Christian nation living under the lordship of Jesus Christ, the nation cannot afford a compromised gospel. Zambia needs a prophetic media house. For hope, peace and unity, Zambia needs Camnet television. For non-biased, factual reporting, balanced opinion, accurate news coverage, Zambia needs Camnet television. For national projects and development of our beloved country Zambia, watch Camnet TV on channel 274 DSTV, channel 98 on GOTV and channel 106 on Topstar. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga. The Agriculture Technical Professional Staff Union of Zambia has maintained that government should not allow the exportation of maize and millet meal before the local market is satisfied. Recently, the Millers Association of Zambia called the Ministry of Agriculture to allow grain traders to export maize to neighboring countries. But Mr. Kamutumwa has advised the government against allowing the export of maize to neighboring countries. He says the government should carry out an assessment to ascertain whether the country was ready for exportation or not.
As an agriculture union, we are not saying we are discouraging export. We know that there are returns that you get. But what we are saying is that before we think of lifting this ban, let's make sure that our reserves are stocked. The 1 million metric tons should be in our custody first. And then the minister will open the gates for that export earning to be enhanced, to enhance the economy. What will it do if today we open the borders and the controls are not put? We don't even know what will have remained in our reserves, and then everything goes out there. Next year, it's an election year. We don't want people to vote on an empty stomach. We want people to vote whilst they are satisfied, and that will convince that the decision they are making towards the election will be from an informed point of view, not that someone would have manipulated them because there's hunger in the country. We don't want that. So we want people to make informed decisions objectively. And this is why we seem to differ with those that call for lifting of the ban now. We are not saying they shouldn't lift. We are saying if we remove from the market 1 million metric tons of maize that has been produced so far, we'll remain with a surplus for export or any other of 2 million, which can be used, maize bran or feed or whatever it is, millet meal, it can be processed for export, we don't care.
The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, has received a report on the operationalization of voting rights for persons in lawful custody and the proposed draft legislation for the Zambia Law Development Commission. Speaking at the handing-in ceremony Tuesday morning, ECZ chairperson Misal Chulu says the commission will soon submit the report and draft legislation to the Ministry of Justice. And Zambia Law Development Commission chairperson Justice Roy Dakauma says that her institution has proposed that political parties have access to prisons for the purposes of distributing paper materials in a transparent manner. Details in this report.
The Electoral Commission of Zambia has received a report and draft legislation aimed at operationalizing the Constitutional Court's judgment of 2017, which ordered that the second respondent, which is the Electoral Commission of Zambia, should take all necessary measures to enable persons in lawful custody to vote. In view of the said judgment, it became imperative that legal and administrative framework be established. And in February of 2020, the Electoral Commission of Zambia constituted a technical committee to work on the modalities to operationalize the voting rights of persons in lawful custody. The technical committee executed a number of activities to ensure that the necessary legal and administrative framework is put in place to enable persons in lawful custody participate in the voting.
As the Electoral Commission of Zambia, we are pleased to receive the report and draft registrations. This is indeed a very important milestone in operationalizing the Constitutional Court judgment of 2017, which ordered that the second respondent, Electoral Commission of Zambia, should take all necessary measures to enable persons in lawful custody to vote.
And the Zambia Law Development Commission, working with other cooperating partners, have made some recommendations in the report that allows political parties to have access to distribute paper materials to prisoners, among other things.
The draft electoral process bill and the electoral process campaign in prisons and correctional facilities, the Zambia Law Development Commission and the technical committee have made provisions for, inter alia, the repeal and replacement of Section 9 of the Electoral Process Act, the repeal of Section 47 of the Electoral Process Act, which was declared null and void by the Constitutional Court in the Godfrey Malemeka case, the registration and voting by persons in prisons or correctional centers, the prohibition of physical campaigns in prisons or correctional centers, but we have proposed to allow candidates of political parties to distribute paper-based campaign materials and electronically recorded messages at platforms for information dissemination to enable persons in lawful custody to vote from an informed position.
And ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Patrick Shindano has thanked the technical committee that took part in formulating the policies and proposed bill.
We'd also like to extend our gratitude to our operating partners through the UNDP for facilitating for this exercise, which we believe, as has already been alluded to, marks a landmark milestone for the country in actualizing the rights of persons in lawful custody to be able to exercise their right to vote. As I close, allow me, on the part of the Commission, to commit to specifically mentioning that as a Commission, from this point on, we will move on to swiftly submit the bills to Ministry of Justice for onward submission to Parliament for enactment.
It is the first time in the history of Zambia that prisoners will be voting in a general election, a decision that has brought a lot of controversy. However, the Electoral Commission of Zambia has insisted that it is equal to the task at ensuring that Zambia conducts a free and fair election in 2021. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The United Party for National Development, UPND, has appointed its former national chairperson, MUTALE NALUMANGO, as party vice president. Mrs. NALUMANGO has vast experience in the political and governance system of this country, as she has served on various senior government positions. Unveiling this development, UPND President Hakainde Hichilema says Mrs. NALUMANGO is a vibrant woman who has the passion to serve the people of Zambia. Mr. Hichilema says once elected into power in the forthcoming August elections, his party will focus on the 9 pillars to revamp the local economy, which he said has been destroyed by a few selfish individuals. Details in this report.
She had served as the party national chairperson for the United Party for National Development, UPND, since 2013 to 2021. Her love and passion to serve the Zambian people has earned her the love of her party members to become the first female UPND vice president. UPND President Hakainde Hichilema has unveiled MUTALE NALUMANGO as the new party vice president, filling the position that has been vacant for almost a year following the resignation of Geoffrey Wadamamba, popularly known as GBM, to join the ruling party.
We focus our business, our activities as a party, as a nation, on those things that will better the lives of the people of Zambia. I see too much squabbling. I see too much greed in this economy, this country, especially from those that are given the responsibility to run public office, clamoring for better vehicles when there's no oxygen in the hospitals. And that's all they do. You open a newspaper, you open a social media platform, they're talking about things that don't benefit the people. I want us to change the agenda. I want this party to change the agenda. The agenda is to save the people of Zambia. I believe you agree with me.
Mr. Hichilema says the party is determined at winning the August general election, considering that the Zambian economy has deteriorated over time.
UPND has a clear and achievable agenda to revive our ailing economy and create millions of jobs. Millions of jobs. And indeed, business opportunities for our citizens. We define jobs to mean a formal job, self-employment, which comes through running your own small business, medium-scale business, employing yourself, your family, and other people. That's how we define jobs, income opportunities. So we are ready for that. We are well placed to do that.
And the UPND vice president-elect says she is grateful for the responsibility entrusted in her by the party members and has called on the Zambian people to give the opposition chance to save them and fix the economy that she claims has been destroyed by few individuals.
I call him our tool. Yes. I accept to be a small tool in the cause. A tool is something you use. You don't even ask whether an axe is enjoying it or not. But it's you that sharpens the axe. It's you that keeps it in shape for you to be able to achieve. The cause is not the president's, not for me. The cause is for every Zambian.
The opposition party says it will focus on 9 pillars once elected into power, which includes cutting wasteful expenditure, diversifying the Zambian economy, enabling access to capital by the Zambian people, increase exports, reduce taxes, stop linkages caused by corruption, restructure national debt, among others. Prudence Tota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Republican Progressive Party RPP President Leslie Chikuse has congratulated MUTALE NALUMANGO for a well-deserved appointment to the position of Vice President of the UPND. In his congratulatory statement, Mr. Chikuse says NALUMANGO's character is capable of uniting the country. Mr. Chikuse says this was a well-thought appointment by UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema, looking at her background as Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly and legal background also as a teacher. The RPP president says UPND has scored by proving that they are a party with regional diversity.
And the UPND have scored by showing that they are politically inclined to the Constitution, provision 59, which requires that there is regional diversity in the management of the affairs of the political party. We have shown, it has also shown that they are all inclusive. It is good to see another lady, another woman of integrity rise to the position of vice president. It was a very well thought plan, a very well thought appointment by President HH, and we can only congratulate HH for managing the affairs of the party in line with the constitution, but very importantly, appointing a lady of integrity, deputy speaker of the National Assembly, a teacher by profession. Her character in itself has shown that she is capable of uniting the country. We hope, we wish all the UPND very well, and us as Republican Progressive Party look forward to having a cordial relationship with the UPND under the Vice Presidency of MUTALE NALUMANGO.
The Opposition People's Alliance for Change says alliances of convenience only for the purposes of unseating the Patriotic Front should not be entertained because they are retrogressive to national development. PAC President Andy Banda notes that as the country heads to the polls, political alliances should be based on political ideologies and meant to help individuals ascend to power without a clear development agenda. Mr. Banda says politics should be centered on the conviction of bringing development to the people. The opposition leader says it is against this background that PAC has formed an alliance with the people of Zambia as opposed to partnering with political parties without a proper agenda. And Mr. Banda says it is regrettable that the ruling Patriotic Front under the tenure could not hold the national indaba to steer the country's development path.
Because we want to form an alliance with the people as opposed just with political parties. If we continue to just change for the sake of changing, this is a situation where every other 5 years, we'll start calling for change. Now, if we're going to be calling for change every other 5 years, then this country will not have an agenda. It will just be politics. 1-2 years, we put these people in power, then we are not satisfied. For the next 2.5 years, before the elections, we are talking of, no, we need change. We need change, So we need to start thinking about more of ideals and ideologies that the party is taking forward, as opposed to, just looking at all these people. Let's just give them an opportunity, giving them a chance to be there. But I think, let's say, this is the agenda for this country. This is the agenda that we need, and this is the agenda that is going to help us as a country. And it has to be a situation where 10 years after you run government, the next government, whether it is your political party or another political party, they must follow through the agenda of the country. In as much as they must have a manifesto, they must, work, with agenda of the country. That's the reason why, it's surprising me that in the last 10 years of the PF, we've never had an economic indaba. Because an economic indaba for me is a situation where political parties, all stakeholders, that is political parties and other stakeholders, sit and agree on the country's agenda, and the country's agenda, is an agenda that, every political party, every time they take over government, they, adopt that agenda. That's a
President Edgar Lungu has donated 500 bicycles to all headmen in the 4 wards of Msanzala constituency in Petalpe district. The donation was delivered to the headman by Msanzala constituency member of parliament Peter Daka. And Mr. Daka says the donation by the head of state will go a long way in assisting the headmen in terms of movements, as some of the wards are vast. Sanis has more.
The village headmen from Msanzala constituency receiving their bicycles that were given to them by President Edgar Lungu. Msanzala constituency member of parliament Peter Daka delivered the bicycles on behalf of the president.
Anituma na president. A president pechoera kunenena kuti nikampaseni njinga yakuti moenderako kuwerujana kuujana kuti tichitetyani mbaediga kumkondani amtumizirani njinga iyi apwata iyi njinga iyi ni anu mwe kuti headman muluteko neo lini na panga yoganizo na president a president umkondani pakumkondani na president ye patumisha ili.
And the civic leader has thanked President Edgar Lungu for gifting the headmen with bicycles.
A president Lomba vambotipasa va vintu vatudandaula monga siku la lero atitumizira njinga nisekerere cha ntemwa nalavira kuti miseu monga umseu wasu nyampande mwa perodi ukonzewe mvula ikacheperera chifwa miseu yukonzewa lini na nthawi ya mvula.
And the beneficiaries are grateful for the gesture.
Nutokoza mwewa presidenti pazamwa tichitira chifuko maendede wa msonkhano wanu kapena zotuluka muno mwasu Mateyo mzeka monga kupitukuko tenzovutika maendedwe icho cheve tuyamikira Mulungu kuti amsogolereni kuti masiku wanu apitirire.
With Msanzala being a rural constituency, the bicycles would go a long way in assisting headmen with movements as they go about their everyday business. Hilda Msonda in Msanzala constituency.
Petauke's Central Member of Parliament, Dora Silia, has emphasized the need for parents to take their children to school in order for them to be viable citizens of this country. Ms. Silia says education is one way of alleviating poverty at household level and the country at large if well utilized. Ms. Silia, who is also Minister of Information and Broadcasting Services and Chief Government Spokesperson, was speaking when she donated school building materials valued at over 78,000 kwacha to Simambwe Community School in Petauke. Zanis has more.
Education is the key to success, and when well utilized, it can assist the nation attain so many developmental goals, including poverty reduction. For this reason, Petauke Central Member of Parliament Doris Leah has continued supporting the education sector by donating to schools and emphasizing the need for parents to take their children to school.
Tikalabira nkhani ya maskulu atitutukana sise banja pano tete nikati aine nikapesako ka spare ni avane na moyo phela natukana nikati yayi muigwira ntchito mwinipunzisa kuti nimthandizeni natukana osati tipelele palineyo tete punzise na ayangu wa bululu wangu vavana zili kwala titecho atatukana.
And Imbala Ward Councillor Esther Pili has thanked the area Member of Parliament for the support.
So pejo mafumu seo kunao mama na sema youth tilipano neo kasa ne muntu okona pazachitira amai Dora Silia.
The school authority is also grateful for the gesture.
I'd like to thank the area member of PNP for the good gesture that she has done to provide us with the building materials so that we should help to construct the 1x3 classroom block.
The support by Ms. Leah to the education sector will go a long way in assisting children in the community in attaining education, which plays a vital role in the development of the nation. Hilda Msonda in Petauke Central Constituency.
And moving on in the news, a state witness has told the Lusaka Magistrate Court that the 9 suspected UPND cadres arrested during the time Mr. Hakainde Hichilema was summoned for questioning at the force headquarters were insulting and throwing stones at police officers that were deployed at the scene to maintain order. Akwel Zulu, a detective, told Magistrate Felix Kauma in his testimony that during the same process, 2 buses driven by the accused persons in the act were impounded. Allegations in this case are that the accused persons on the 23rd of December 2020 in Lusaka jointly and whilst acting together, whilst at a public place, namely along Independence Avenue, conducted themselves in a manner likely to cause a breach of peace. More in this report.
Has commenced in the Magistrate Court in the case involving 9 United Party for National Development UPND supporters who were arrested on the 23rd of December 2020 following the fracas that led to the shooting of a state prosecutor Nsama Chipyoka and a UPND supporter Joseph Kaunda. The accused had gone to Lusaka Police Force headquarters to give solidarity to party leader Hakainde Hichilema, who was summoned to appear before the police for questioning. The 9 were arrested and dragged to court Court, where they are now facing a charge of idle and disorderly person, contrary to Section 178 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. And when the matter came up for commencement of trial Tuesday morning, 2 state witnesses testified in the case. The first witness, who is Detective Akwo Zulu, told the court in his testimony that the accused persons arrested were insulting and throwing stones at police officers who were deployed at the scene to maintain order. Mr. Zulu told Lusaka Magistrate Felix Kauma in his testimony that during the same process, 2 buses driven by the accused persons in the act were impounded. Earlier, when the first witness was called to the stand, a Mr. Mebin Nguvuza, a chief inspector, had testified that whilst at force headquarters, a group of suspected UPND cadres came to give solidarity to their leader, Mr. Hichilema. However, they became unruly and blocked the roads between High Court roundabout and Cabinet offices, disturbing the movement of road users. The witness had further testified that he was the deputy of the said team that was told to supervise at force headquarters, and the one in charge was a Mr. Mwenda, who is now late. However, when asked during cross-examination in his testimony if he had told the court that the accused were violent in any way, the witness said no. Trial continues. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Lusaka Magistrate Nsunge Chanda has told lawyers representing National Democratic Congress leader Chishimba Kambwili that they can avoid their client visiting the court more frequently if only they can speed up their defense. Kambwili was on the 23rd of February 2021 expected to open his defense in the matter in which he is charged with contempt of court. However, the defense asked for an adjournment. This left the magistrate to order the defense to speed up with opening of the accused defense, as she did not like seeing him more often at the court as if he worked there. Allegations in this case are that on March 6, 2018, in Lusaka, Kambwili caused an obstruction or disturbance in the course of judicial proceedings by lodging documents at the Patents and Companies Registration Pakra relating to the registration of Mwamona Engineering Technical Services Limited when the matter was already in court. Economic and Equity Party EEP President Shirofia Tayali is the complainant in this case. Kambwili is expected to open his defense on the 22nd of March 2021. And still in court news, Vendetta Resources Holdings Limited has asked the Lusaka High Court to give guidance over the powers bestowed to Konkola Copper Mines in liquidation provisional liquidator Milingolungu. Vendetta, as the majority shareholder of the mining firm, argues that the powers of the provisional liquidator in the expatriate order of appointment do not include the disposal of substantially all the business and assets of KCM for nil consideration. This is in a matter where ZCCM-IH has petitioned KCM for liquidation, seeking an order that is to wound up for engaging in tax evasion and being managed in a manner detrimental to the interests of government, among other reasons. In its sermons for directions, Vendetta is seeking a determination on whether the provisional liquidator, Milingolungu, has the power to restructure or reorganize KCM by splitting its operations into 2 separate entities and transferring to those entities for nil consideration all of the business assets and employees of KCM. It wants a determination on whether the transfer of KCM's property without the provision of the court is void pursuant to Section 62 of the Corporate Insolvency Act and whether the powers. We take our first set of commercials. Do stay with us as we have more interesting stories lined up for you.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our Zesco units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, downlights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
And why do you look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
Well, Amwandi, you know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing. Don't tell me.
Yes!
I already know the secrets. Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin.
Super Cereal! We always start our day with nutritious Super Cereal. It's so easy to make. Just add hot water or milk. Fortified with essential vitamins, gives you energy and keeps you alert. Super Cereal is so good for you. Comes in 3 yummy flavors: original, banana, and strawberry, and tastes so good.
Easy Super Cereal is made from non-GMO maize and soya and is good for the whole family. Found in all leading stores. Quick and easy.
Tastes delicious.
Full of goodness.
Makes you stronger.
Super Cereal.
Easy Super Cereal. Brought to you by Java Foods.
Hello, have you heard about Msika? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, Msika is here. Advertise on Msika between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact
+260 953 995099. +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467.
Msika, allowing your business to grow.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. The Anti-Corruption Commission has warned and cautioned former Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary for Administration Akakulubelwa Mulalelo. The Commission has also revealed that it will in due course transmit the case file to the National Prosecutions Authority for further action. In a statement revealed to Camnet News by ACC Public Relations Manager Timothy Mono, says the Commission has been conducting investigations into alleged irregularities in the awarding of a tender to Honeybee Pharmaceuticals by the Ministry of Health. In this regard, the Commission summoned former Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary for Administration, Ms. Akakulubelwa Mulalelo, to appear for questioning Tuesday. Meanwhile, a joint team comprising officers from the Anti-Corruption Commission, Drug Enforcement Commission, and the Auditor General's Office have been instructed to look into the matter involving the accumulation of a 2.4 billion kwacha debt by the Ministry of Health for COVID-19 supplies. This follows allegation of price inflations and mismanagement of the procurement process in acquiring the COVID-19 supplies. Zambia has recorded 555 new COVID-19 cases out of 3,900 tests conducted in the last 24 hours. Health Minister Dr. Jonas Chanda said this during the COVID-19 weekly update. And Dr. Chanda says 9 people have succumbed to COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, Dr. Chanda says Cabinet is yet to meet to discuss the country's status with regards to the acquisition of the COVID-19 vaccine. He reiterated that the Ministry of Health had on Monday held a meeting with the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, to discuss preparations for the August 12th general elections.
The meeting resolved to explore
a number of avenues and innovations to ensure safety for Zambian citizens before, during, and after elections. The Ministry of Health will support the Electoral Commission of Zambia at national and sub-national levels as ECZ carries out its constitutional mandate to conduct elections in a safe manner. We recorded 555 new cases out of the 3,910 tests conducted. That's a positivity rate of 14%. The cases were reported from the following provinces: 178 Lusaka, 136 Northwestern, 118 Northern, 47 Eastern, 30 Southern, 22 Luapula, 12 Copperbelt, 9 Western, and 3 Central. This brings the cumulative number of confirmed cases recorded to date to 75,582. And I also further wish to inform the nation that we last week got in 600,000 rapid diagnostic test kits, and we urge all the provinces that have not collected these test kits from Lusaka to do so immediately. Sadly, we recorded 9 deaths from the following provinces: Copperbelt 3, Northwestern 3, Luapula 1, Lusaka 1, and Western 1. The cumulative number of COVID-19 related deaths recorded to date now stands at 1,040. The deaths are classified as 564 COVID deaths and 476 COVID-19 associated deaths. We also report an additional 508 discharges from both COVID-19 isolation facilities and home management, bringing the cumulative number of recoveries to 69,436, or 92%. We currently have 5,106 active cases. Among the active cases, 4,789, or 94%, are under community management, whereas 317, or 6%, are admitted to our COVID-19 isolation facilities. Of those admitted, 209 are on oxygen therapy and 41 are in critical condition. And I should mention that generally we've seen a huge decline in the number of patients admitted to our facilities, but to mention that those who are admitted, we still have critically ill patients who require oxygen.
Woodlands and Lions Club, in partnership with other stakeholders, have embarked on a feeding program of frontline workers at the Levi Mwanawasa Hospital. Woodlands Lions Club President Kawe Kandeke says the gesture is aimed at appreciating and motivating health workers who have been playing a significant role in the fight against COVID-19. He has hailed the corporate community for supporting the initiative to address the needs of frontline workers by donating money amounting to 63,910 kwacha for a week.
COVID-19, which the global community and Zambia in particular have continued grappling with, continues to affect all sectors of the economy. The fight against the COVID-19 is nothing without the dedication of health workers. It is against this background that the Lions Club has come up with an initiative to feed the frontline workers for a week, and further, if funds permit. The club raised funds amounting to over 63,000 kwacha through firms like Zamtel, Zisk Life and Guardian Insurance, among others. Speaking during a joint press briefing at the Levi Mwanawasa Medical University, Woodlands Lions Club President Kawe Kandeka has hailed the corporate community for complementing the program.
And appreciation of the efforts of the 171 health workers here at the Levi Mwanawasa University Teaching Hospital, the Lions Club of Woodlands decided to raise funds in order to feed our frontliners for 1 week. In fighting this pandemic, our foot soldiers, the nurses, the doctors, and other support staff have been in the forefront, taking care of our patients, and with the second wave of COVID-19, carrying out this function has not been easy given the surge in the numbers.
And speaking during the same event, Zamtel Senior Manager Mobile Money Mulenga Masinja says funds donated by various stakeholders will go a long way in motivating frontline workers.
As we have clearly seen that our health systems are currently overstretched,
As a nation, we recently crossed the grim number of 1,000 COVID-19 related deaths. A sad reminder that we should not drop our guard, but consistently work towards preventing new cases from continuing. As MUTALE, our core principle towards corporate social responsibility is healthcare, particularly maternal and child health. It is for this reason we have decided to make this donation to the healthcare sector. This gesture perfectly sits in our existing Memorandum of Understanding with the Ministry of Health, which governs our partnership, as demonstrated here today.
And Levi Mwanawasa Medical University Teaching Hospital Senior Superintendent Dr. Penias Tembo says combating the COVID-19 pandemic cannot be achieved while working in isolation. Hence, he is happy that the private sector has come on board.
Maybe even the president, but remember us at Levi Mwanawasa University Teaching Hospital. It's not arguable. We are the biggest isolation center in the country. We started it, we are still at it, and we need that support. And that support may not be just in form of food hampers. We also have other areas of need, like PPEs, maybe buying some oxygen, and so on and so forth. So please continue supporting us and not tire until we have the last patient treated in the country.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
The Zambia National Public Health Institute, ZNPHI, says continued adherence to prescribed health guidelines will prevent the outbreak of the third wave of the deadly COVID-19. ZNPHI Head of Communication and Research, Mazianga Liwewe told journalists at a media briefing in Lusaka that COVID-19 still poses a huge risk as the cases continue to rise. She says from the over 1 million tests conducted by the Ministry of Health, over 75,000 people have tested positive. She, however, notes that the number of positive cases could even be higher once massive testing is conducted. Mrs. Liwewe said every community, individual and corporate entity have a role to play in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. And Operation 100 COVID-19 Task Force Chairperson Inambao Sitwala says they have made tremendous strides in attaining the objectives set out to continue sensitizing citizens as regards to COVID-19.
Today, I don't know if it's through enforcement rules or it's your conviction that for you to be protected, you must wear a mask. And like you rightfully said, you go to a funeral, you go to the mall, you're walking on the street and people are just not in it. So how do we deal with it? We have to keep singing the song. We have to keep singing the song because the 2 out of 10 who would have believed you will be protected. And it will help with the control. We have to work with we talked about infection prevention and control measures. So we have to work in a holistic manner. And if you look at the golden rules, yes, there are ways of you or another person protect themselves from getting infected or infecting another person. But we have to put them together with ensuring that the environment is clean. We have to make sure that we are observing many other factors. When somebody is unwell, they are taken care of properly by the health authorities. If they are going to be managed at home, they are advised, and so on and so forth.
Monza Town Council intends to start carrying out the monthly Keep Monza Clean, Green and Healthy campaign on Friday, the 26th of February 2021. Council Public Relations Officer Kanchele says the local authorities' employees will carry out the campaign in Chisekesi. The council has since urged residents of the area to also carry out this activity by ensuring they clean their surrounding areas. Mr. Kanchele reiterates that the previous month was targeted at mass disinfection in public places in the central business district and nearby surrounding places. Hence, they are extending the activity to Chisekesi, which is part of Monza district. The Keep Zambia Clean, Green and Healthy campaign, relaunched by President Edgar Lungu, demands that all Zambians take part in the cleaning of the cities every last Saturday of each month.
Authority would like to take this opportunity and just inform the public that we have drastically improved actually in terms of refuse collection. This is due to the fact that one of the trucks which was down has been repaired. The fossil truck which was down has been repaired, and it has seen us improve the refuse collection, and the residents who are passing through the CBD and areas around the CBD area will tell us that, will agree with us that there has been an improvement in that area. Further, we would like to encourage the citizens, or rather residents of Monze, to continue the spirit that we have seen the past few months, where the dumping of waste has indiscriminate dumping of waste has drastically reduced, and this is the spirit that we need to ensure that we continue, and in our quest to ensure that Monze becomes one of the cleanest town as well as the greenest town in the.
We take another set of commercials. Do stay with us as we still have international and sports news. Don't go away.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti for your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Dr. Bigron, musayibala komutienda okuni gift na land. Uchitenkubeti uibise mojo basayone. Oh! Mwina mushi, nakuletera njinga. Latest ina ruvesi gear na mawaipa.
Difficult ya shida njinga. Liam 19 pendefcon. Transport, we got it.
Nanga phone for communication. Ipunzi sana chizungu. Yeah, you see what I mean?
It's a camera difficult.
It's communication. We got it. Indemo me. Powerful system ndimba X-Buzz.
Mufumile kukalale. Na mnaimo muli bakumushi. We got it. Yo Bikron, utole noleta nchemfule mungani. Get you watch that post and change. 1, 2, 3, both of you. Kabala ngempang. Don't be stupid. We got it.
2021 is finally here. Zambia is at the crossroads heading towards general elections this August. In the world where fake news, biased reporting on national issues has become the order of the day, in a world where social media in most cases spills lies and exaggerated information, insightful coverage, Zambia needs one media. Living in a country where people are slowly promoting tribalism, hatred, bitterness and revenge, political temperature is heating up and people's hearts are perplexed. Zambia needs one media. Zambia being a Christian nation living under the lordship of Jesus Christ, the nation cannot afford a compromised gospel. Zambia needs a prophetic media house. For hope, peace and unity, Zambia needs Camnet television for non-biased, factual reporting, balanced opinion, accurate news coverage, Zambia needs Camnet television. For national projects and development of our beloved country Zambia, watch Camnet TV on channel 274 DSTV, channel 98 on GOTV, and channel 106 on Topstar. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. In international news, a bunch of 11,000 doses of Ebola vaccines and 200 health experts have landed in Guinea's capital, Conakry, after a resurgence of the virus in its southern region. At least 5 people have died in the latest outbreak, which was declared an epidemic on February 14th. Guinean authorities are battling to limit the spread of the disease and the skepticism of the residents. In other news, the deaths of government officials, along with a sharp rise in phenomenal cases, have fueled existing speculation that the country's COVID-19 statistics are being kept under wraps in Tanzania. Tanzania's health institutions have not reported a single case of coronavirus since last April. According to a Reuters news agency tally, death tolls across the African continent are rising as several countries suffer a second wave of the coronavirus, but there are no immediate plans to vaccinate Tanzanians. Instead, President John Magufuli has encouraged citizens to pray and rely on traditional remedies for disease prevention. Here's a roundup.
They work like detectives, trying to trace a silent killer, Ebola. Health workers questioned the son of a nurse who died from the virus in early February, asking questions on what she ate, where she went, and what she did. Did he see anything unusual before her death? Still in shock, he calls out to his deceased mother.
Mom, I can't stop crying. People say you died of Ebola, but we don't really know. Is this true? Are they lying to us? God only knows. I feel powerless. Night and day I cry. Why did you have to go?
He is not alone in doubting Ebola's resurgence. At the epicenter of the outbreak, the regional market is bustling despite a ban on public gatherings. Worse, meat from wild animals known to harbor Ebola is sold in stalls.
What you are seeing here is not a big deal. People are just ill-informed. Some haven't come to the market, but those people you see here are foreigners from neighboring countries.
In 2015, more than 11,000 people died and 20,000 were infected after the virus spread from Guinea's forest region to neighboring Liberia and Sierra Leone. The outbreak was contained after an experimental vaccine was distributed, but not before health workers were attacked by people who did not believe in the virus. Infected patients were kept in isolation, and the dead were taken away, buried, without their families being present.
A good lesson we learned is that instead of doing everything by ourselves, we have to give the resources and the means to the population and to the local health worker, the local authorities, to manage the outbreak by themselves. We cannot continue coming with big wide SUV and with a lot of people in small villages.
11,000 vaccines and 200 health workers have just arrived in Guinea's capital, Conakry, to help manage this latest outbreak. The doses will go to frontline health workers and close contacts. Patients are being treated in Nzerekore, Conakry, and Lero by the Malian border. Almost a month after Lua's mother died of Ebola, the virus is spreading.
For Boeing, a fiery flight leads to another plane grounding in a 2-year corporate spiral. More than 100 Boeing 777 aircraft with a specific type of Pratt & Whitney engine have been pulled out of service after an exploding engine on United Flight 328 over the skies of Colorado led to an emergency U-turn.
United Denver, departure United 328 Heavy Mayday aircraft just experienced engine failure, need a turn immediately.
In the U.S., federal aviation regulators have demanded stepped-up inspections of the engine type that rained down on a home, a soccer pitch, and streets of Colorado. Before the plane landed, remarkably with no injuries inside or outside of the plane. Aviation experts blame hollow engine blades that apparently broke off and started the fire.
It not only blew through the case and blew through the cowling, but actually penetrated the fuselage, damaging the fuselage, the wing, and blowing out a window, causing a depressurization.
That led Boeing managers in Chicago to call for the global grounding of a limited number of 777s that had been flying only from the U.S., Japan, and South Korea. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration is now investigating whether the fan blades failed because they were damaged, and that damage went undetected in routine inspection, or whether there was a manufacturing flaw that led to the explosion. That could mean wider problems. Analysts say this engine failure is less catastrophic for Boeing than the flight control problems found to have caused 2 crashes that killed 346 passengers and grounded the then brand new 737 MAX aircraft for nearly 2 years. It's just now returning to service.
This is the kind of thing which happens from time to time with highly stressed modern machinery. A fault which hadn't been detected before suddenly makes itself known, and everything is frozen for a while an inspection takes place to try and correct it. This is not a
We now get into sports news. And in sports news, the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, has dispersed the second batch of COVID-19 funds received from FIFA. FAZ General Secretary Adrian Kashala says the association has dispersed the resources to the Super League and National Division 1 clubs as promised. The first batch of the $1 million FIFA COVID-19 relief funds were dispersed in August 2019, with the second batch lined up for January 2021. FAZ has disbursed the final part of the club's entitlement, with lower division clubs having received their total entitlement in the first round of the disbursement. Kashala explains that FAZ has made the disbursement public in keeping with its mantra of transparency. That sports item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the headlines once again. MUTALE NALUMANGO appointed as UPND VEEP. ECZ receives final report and amendment bills on voting rights for persons in lawful custody. ACC warns and cautions former health PS. In international news, Guineans skeptical as government steps up fight against Ebola. And in sports news, FAZ disperses final batch of FIFA COVID-19 relief funds. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from the book of Proverbs 21, 3-4. Doing what is righteous and just is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. The lamp that guides the wicked, haughty eyes and an arrogant heart is sin. On behalf of the entire news production crew and myself, Liseli Kanyanga, thank you so much for watching Camnet TV News on Camnet TV, not just another channel.